So welcome to the TEDxPlattsburgh new podcast series. I'm Stephane Bilodeau, and I'm accompanied by my colleague and friend, Dr. Ayse Basak Cinar. Welcome, Ayse. Today, we have an incredible guest to exchange with, a leader, an entrepreneur, a woman who has already achieved so much in the UK and India and beyond. So I'll let you introduce her, so Dr. Poonam Gupta.
Thank you, Stephane. So Dr. Poonam Gupta, not only she went on to complete an honors degree in economics from Shri Ram College of Commerce in Delhi before gaining an MBA in International Business and Marketing at Ford School of Management, Delhi, and Maastricht School of Management in Holland. Please correct me afterwards if I'm pronouncing wrong. In 2022. And Gupta was also awarded a PhD in an international business and marketing at École Supérieure Robert de Sorbonne. But Poonam is better known for her outstanding entrepreneurship. She launched her first business, PG Paper Company Ltd, in 2003 from her family house in Kilmacolm, Scotland. The business initially specialized in reusing products often destined for landfills, and PG Paper imports and exports goods from over 53 countries around the world and is considered to be the fastest growing paper company in the United Kingdom. She has also received the 2022 Inspiring Leader of the Year award from Women Enterprise Scotland, and I'm very happy to hear that because I'm also Women Enterprise Scotland ambassador. A little bit about what is Women Enterprise School. Scotland, its vision is for Scotland to be the world leading in its approach to supporting women businesses owners, enabling equal access to resources and opportunities as they develop successful and sustainable business. And as ambassadors, our mission is to advocate, champion women-owned and women-led businesses, unlocking economic potential and enabling innovation and productivity to thrive. So, Stefan, is there anything you would like to add?
Yes, I can surely add that Dr. Poonam Gupta had also been recognized, sorry, as the Entrepreneur of the Year in 2019 in the UK by Ernst & Young, and as one of the 100 most influential in UK-India relations by the India Inc. group just last year. And also her charitable contributions are focused on women's issues, unprivileged children, animal conservation, cancer, gender equality, helping young girls in India, but also beyond to get an education. All the things that we're pleased to cover with her today. So if I may, Poonam, we'll listen to you, a remarkable woman and generous leader today. You are part of our important discussions related to all this. So let's start with some questions. And Ayse, I will let you start with the very first question for Poonam. Welcome, Poonam, by the way.
Thank you, Stefan and Asha.
We feel privileged to have you here, Poonam, and we would like to learn more from you. And I'm sure that our audience would like to know more and inspired by you. So our first question is, how does having a purpose, maybe a childhood dream, play a role in your success?
Okay. As a child, I am one of four. So I have three younger brothers. I'm born and brought up in India. And what I found in India when I looked around is a lot of my family, the women didn't work. And I used to read about these amazing women like the then Prime Minister of India and also Mother Teresa and how they were making a difference to other people's lives. And I used to think, what can I do differently and not just be a homemaker, but can I be something beyond that? And I think that kind of drove me to multiple careers that I considered. I went through thinking about, can I become a bureaucrat, to can I become a pilot? But then, it was something about entrepreneurship, which I found always interesting. I'm very inquisitive by nature, used to read a lot of magazine, books, articles, newspapers. And I feel there's something about entrepreneurship which has an angle of innovation and creativity and creating something. And if I can creating something, I can also help people around me. So that purpose of wanting to make a positive difference in the society, in my community, kind of drove me towards my career as a choice of entrepreneurship. And I believe that when we create something, then we can, and we have something, and we are privileged to have something, we can help society, whether it's local or global.
Great,
It's
great
amazing.
answer. And it leads me to a second question, specifically on your entrepreneurial journey from India to Scotland, by the way. We gave a few milestones in your story, but you might definitely have other things to discuss about this journey that led you from one side of the world to another to the other side. So just give us a few insights.
In 2002, I got married, chose to get married to somebody who lived here in the west of Scotland, my husband Puneet, who now works with me. And that brought me to the west of Scotland. So from very sunny Delhi to very, like I say, very sunny or not so sunny west of Scotland. And that move basically kind of inspired me also because I had been to London before many years ago as a teenager, and I wasn't really scared to experience the other side of the world. And I made that move and came and got settled in Greenock first when I came to Scotland. And then I started looking for a job. And having 2 degrees, I found it very difficult to find a job because most people would say either I was overqualified or I didn't have any work experience in the UK. And that's when I started to get a bit impatient. And I thought, I've been asking for somebody to give me a job, but what if I can try something and perhaps even create lots of jobs for people around me? And that's what kind of pushed me towards the direction of starting my own company.
Great initiative, by
Thank
the
you.
way. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I had the same experience when I applied many jobs before my entrepreneurial journey. I heard the same story that I'm overqualified. So yeah, that's a very good point. And if I may ask, how has a growth or resilient mindset played a role in this success journey? So for example, if we think Mackenzie's latest publication, it highlights the mindset, selectivity, and spirit are the essential for a leader. So what do you think about the role of resilient mindsets?
When I started in my career 20 years ago, I was very new to this country. I hardly knew anybody. And I was setting out to create an international business. And what I initially, in my first couple of years, India was my whole and soul market. And very quickly, I was facing some very serious challenges in India in 2005. And at that point, I realized that depending upon a single market does not make your business risk proof. So what I started doing at that time is that, I started exploring wider countries. I started exploring nearby countries to India. And very soon I managed to open Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And then what followed was the fact that I was able to not just sell one type of goods, I was also able to create more product lines that I could sell to 4 different countries. By 2006, I think I was already selling to 4 different markets. Entrepreneurship, as I experienced, was first of all very lonely journey for me. The good news is it's not the case these days because there are so many organizations offering help and support. Then the challenges that the entrepreneurial journey presents, like for example, I faced my first challenge back in 2005, still only 2 years in business, made me realize that it is extremely important to build a resilient business. And to build a resilient business, you do need a resilient mindset. Because in 2005, I was still, kind of working, you can say, pretty much by myself. So when faced with challenges, it can bring also sometimes a lot of stress. So how do you deal with that stress to overcome that challenge in that moment and move beyond it? The challenge means you have to find a solution, and you can't find a solution if you're overstressed and overstressing on that challenge. And that means that you have to now think about solutions, and you can't think about solution unless you think with a calm mind. And since then, I have learned time and time again, it was not the only challenge I faced. In 2006, I was wheelchair bound with with a misdiagnosed disease and pregnant with my second child. Then in 2000, I mean, I can carry on year by year. Obviously, any entrepreneurial journey faces multiple challenges. Every day can be sometimes a challenge. As a CEO of the company, challenges are not always negative. Challenges are always positive. You challenge your own self. How do I grow my business? How do I hire good people? There are hundreds of things which can be on agenda, which requires a positive and a stress-free, or an ability to control your stress kind of mindset. And that is why I think resilience, not just in entrepreneurship but in daily life, it's so important. Because I often find if you focus too much on the problem and you stress yourself too much about the problem, you cannot find a solution. Whether it is looking for a new mortgage for your house, whether it's some people might get stressed, oh, I need to open a new bank account. Online fraud is on the rise these days. That can stress people out. What do I do differently? Anything. One needs to learn what works for them to calm themselves down. Take your time, take the time out, but then go back to the problem and look for the solution. And that's what needs, I completely agree, a very solid, resilient mindset. And that mindset can be harnessed. I have learned with my mistakes and time. I've had times where, 2 weeks of no sleep, or even one time I was on sleeping pills because, for 2 weeks. And then I realized I can't go on like that. It needs to stop. I can't, you know, understand and solve these problems if I keep stressing over it. So one learns with time, and there's a lot of, again, help available out there. Use mentorship, reach out to entrepreneurial groups, but try and become that person who can, okay, stress for a while. That's normal human nature, but then try and move beyond that stress and build that resilient mindset. We are all capable of it.
Absolutely. See, it's really well said, by the way. And by the way, another time, you have an important philanthropic set of causes you're touching, but one especially is in that direction. So you're working to empower women and girls, especially. So helping them build the tools they'll need. So maybe you want to talk about this cause that it's important in your life, for what we understand. So just give us your insights on that.
So when I am talking about empowering women, or I'm talking about empowering girls,
Yeah.
we have different set of challenges than our male counterparts. If I take entrepreneurship, for example, a lot of girls or women do not step into entrepreneurial journey simply because of the responsibilities that they feel they have on them. Whether it's children, whether it's family, or just like not having enough role models out there still who are women entrepreneurs, that they can think, I can do this. And often in our society, we first get told that you can't before the society acknowledges that she can. So that's why I'm a big believer in empowering women and girls to realize I want them to understand and realize their potential. Just because of gender, don't hold yourself back thinking you cannot do it. Why do you think you cannot do it? What is the reason behind it? And with a little bit of discipline, hard work, and self-confidence, anything is achievable. When I started my business, my children came after I started my business. So 2003, I started my business. My first girl was born in 2005, and then the second one came along in 2007. Was it easy? It wasn't easy. But one thing I'm guilty of is not getting enough support at that time or asking for enough support. But if had I asked for enough support, I wouldn't have to deal with possibly everything by myself. I wouldn't have to feel guilty about missing a sports day or not being there for them, in the coffee mornings when all the other moms were there. So that brings me to the point where I feel that women and girls should learn not to be so harsh on themselves. There is a wider role for the society to play when supporting a woman in trying to pursue her dreams. And perhaps that comes from being more understanding and providing them support. And I find also a lot of mothers take time off when they have a child. They might be in the best thriving career at top of their game before they have a child. Then they take 2 years out and suddenly they have lost all this confidence and they're scared to come back to the industry. And I feel that just because they've taken 2 years out, it doesn't mean that their knowledge has disappeared. They can absolutely come back and start a career from where they had finished before. And often they are given lower roles, which I think is not acceptable. Of course, they will take time coming back into the role. It's also about building them feeling confident in themselves. And I'm a big believer in all of this. I'm a big believer in equal pay. I'm a big believer that you cannot judge a woman on her ability simply because of her gender. And hence, all of this plays into what I personally believe in. And I think every woman, every girl deserves that equal right to whether it's education, whether it's in career, whether it's her choice to take those 2 years off, but give her that opportunity. And this is my appeal to the corporates to come back into the role she wants, and don't just assume because she's been away for 2 years, oh, all her knowledge has diminished. It doesn't work like that. Knowledge is something we retain. And that's why I think I go out and tell more and more girls and women that believe in yourself. Have that self-confidence that you can. And if you feel that you can't, ask yourself why. And if you think you have responsibilities, ask for support.
It's absolutely important, and you're so right, Poonam. So it's important for them, for the girl, for the women, but I feel it's also important for the world itself. So for women to take their place, it's important for our future of all of us, women and men included, for sure. So we should let the space needed. Thanks for your answer. Great and important points. I see you might have another question related to that.
Yeah, those are great insights. Thank you, Poonam. Yeah, as you mentioned, one of the main challenges on the way is we as women criticize ourselves too much. But if we think, for example, external factors, like if we think of India, it could be quite challenging for a female to rise as a leader. So what were the specific challenges experienced and how you overcame them? Maybe it will be inspiration for some girls and women out there.
So since you mentioned India, India is very different today than it was 20 years ago. In fact, I find more and more girls taking their place in economy and playing their roles as leaders. So for example, you'll be surprised to know India produces more women pilots than the UK today. And a lot of girls in India that I meet are actually in STEM and they are interested. Again, we have a challenge here in the UK that how do we inspire girls to go more into STEM, for example. So India is a bit different than what it was 20 years ago, I guess, because India is harnessing something which we call a positive ambition. Although the challenges for women, perhaps not across communities because India is a very complex country, can remain similar. The challenges are actually similar for women, whether it's the UK or India. For example, some things remain constant, family. Sometimes, a woman wants to have family, she wants to get married, she wants to have children. And how does she juggle all of that with her career? So I face those similar challenges, but I guess I hope that there will be less and less of these challenges going forward. For me, those challenges were when I started in a paper industry, which is still quite male dominated. And I often found that I was not being taken very seriously, that I'm a woman and what am I doing in the paper industry. What I learned very quickly was if I had done my research properly, if I had prepared properly for a meeting, yes, maybe for first 5-10 minutes, I found myself being ignored by all the people who were in the room. But often one discussion would lead to another, or questions which would need answered. And once I started answering their queries, I often found that the table turned within first 5-10 minutes. And that kind of, showed me that with patience, I could actually handle any meeting. And success came eventually. I didn't lose my patience thinking, oh, they don't take me seriously just because I'm a woman. Yes, there were times that happened. But I guess, I tried to find that determination inside me, or that feeling that I need to get this done and I need to get this done right, which kind of kept me going. Whether it was a meeting in India, whether it was meeting in Dubai, or whether it was a meeting in China, I kind of took the same approach. Be well prepared for your meeting so you can answer all the questions and the respect will follow. So this is something that I would say to the women out there. If you are wanting to start a business or you're growing your business, just make sure you know what you need to know. Knowledge should be there. And don't think about, I'm not being taken seriously, because that respect will always follow if you know what you're doing. Again, kind of goes back to the fact that, knowledge and confidence becomes important. The second aspect of that is juggling family life with a very busy entrepreneurial life, which required a lot of traveling. You'll be surprised to know that when with my first daughter, before she was even 1 year old, I had possibly done 17 business trips around the world with her. And often, I wouldn't even tell people that, I'm bringing my daughter, but I found once I landed in Thailand, China, or wherever it was in the world, and we were going to go into a meeting, I always found support, somebody helping with the child for those 2-3 hours that I had to be in the meeting, and people were understanding. So again, comes back to the point that if you're like, be brave enough to ask for that support. Don't just assume it's not so professional. How can I have a young child, it's not so professional. Today in my office, my office is child friendly and dog friendly, and it's for all our people who work there. And again, COVID has taught us that hybrid model of working can work. So part-time working from home, part-time working from the office, it works really, really well for people with families.
Yes, we can learn even from big struggle like the pandemic. So
Yes.
greatly said. If we look at your journey from another lens, you're in the UK, and definitely in the UK, you're part of a minority. So not only gender side in terms of entrepreneur, so definitely less in terms of number of women entrepreneur, but you're in a minority on that side, but also on the ethnic side. So what would have been the biggest challenge you faced, and what would have been the ways you overcome this or these challenges related to the minority side of the equation, beyond the gender, but more from your community? So what was them, and what could be an advice you give to people that are in the same context? A supplementary challenge you had to face for sure, on top of all those you mentioned already.
When I look back, I don't know whether I couldn't land a job because, I was new to the UK and ethnic minority. I don't know the answer. Often it was just said to me that I was overqualified, like I said, or I didn't have any experience in the UK. But over the years, I have met people who have told me that, in certain industries, they cannot find the jobs, or they cannot get the jobs they deserve. And they think that could be because of discrimination. Personally, when I started my business, I started with, I started kind of with zero capital. I found my way around financing. So I didn't really go knocking on the bank's doors for money as such. And I don't know whether I was oblivious to the fact, or I was so focused on, what I wanted to do, that I didn't let the, this ethnic minority background or anything, I was already kind of struggling with this first woman in the paper industry kind of thing, that I didn't kind of let other things, or perhaps I just chose to overlook, that aspect of things. So what I would say here is, again, in my opinion, diversity is actually really good for any business. For my business, which is now present in over 60 countries, I find people, when they come from different parts of the world, they bring something new to the table. So, for example, when I came from India to the UK, I came with the knowledge of how things work in India. And then I learned how things work in the UK. So if somebody is coming from South America, or somebody is coming from Egypt, or somebody is coming from China, they're also bringing that different cultural aspect or mindset that we can learn from. And they can actually add a lot of value to our business, whether in terms of understanding a different culture, whether it's bringing in a different set of thinking. Because let's be honest, how we are brought up in a different society kind of also plays a very important role in our personality, and that has to reflect in our profession. So in my company, I don't know how many personalities we have, but I know quite a lot of them, definitely over 12 of them, and I would like more of that diversity in my corporation and in my different businesses. I'm a big believer that businesses, corporates, organizations should see diversity as a positive thing and look at it as a different angle that these people bring to their organization, and give them an opportunity, just like anybody else would have that opportunity to have that job. A job should be purely on the basis of what a person, given on the basis of what a person brings to it. It shouldn't be based on any other discrimination, shouldn't play into that.
Absolutely. And of music to my ears, diversity is definitely an asset to an organization, any organization, business or even public organization. Greatly said. Thanks for these comments, Poonam. Ayse, you have another question?
Yeah, I have another question, because these are great points and these are the challenges we can expect in life. But sometimes we come across with unexpected challenges, like the massive earthquake in Turkey. And we know that in this kind of disasters, women and girls are mostly affected or more affected. So, Poonam, what's maybe your advice for them to stand up and start a new life, a new beginning in their personal and professional life? So,
It's very heartbreaking to see and, to witness the disaster in Turkey. I have an office in Istanbul, and some of my employees actually helped with the disaster relief. And you're absolutely right. When a disaster strikes, it's the women and the girls who suffer the most. And it's not just, financial loss, it's personal loss, it's losing your loved ones, which is very, very hard. And sometimes it can take years for a person to recover from that loss, that hurt, that loss of somebody special, father, mother, brothers. It's very, very difficult. But unfortunately, the life has to go on. That is the hard part. We often say, I often hear people say, and it's happened to me as well, people say life is not fair. But then life is a journey. It doesn't, nobody ever said it is fair. We go through that journey, we may try and make the most of it. So I would tell these women and girls, I'm very, very sorry for whatever you have lost, but try not to lose yourself anymore. You have a life ahead of you. Find that courage inside you, find that strength inside you. We are often more powerful than we think we are. It's very, very difficult and it feels like the end of the world, but life goes on and we must embrace that life and try to make the most of it. So, whatever position you're in, whether you wanted to go for a higher education and you've lost family, try and find that support and try and pursue your dreams. Keep going and keep finding that strength within yourself. And I would also say to the wider community, please support them in a positive way. If they want to be entrepreneurs, if they want to pursue their dreams, there are organizations out there, charitable organizations out there who would want to extend support. Please support these women and girls so they can go on with their lives and create something good of it for themselves and for others too.
This is a great message to go forward, and great message for the communities, for the persons. This is absolutely awesome. We're close to the conclusion, so you already gave us a many great messages, but that last one really important for our audience. But I want to let you the chance to talk either a message, as kind of 30-second message you would like to put forward, or an initiative that you would like to outline, just for our audience to know and give some insights to them before we're closing. So I would like to let you this opportunity.
Okay, when it comes to message, if I am an entrepreneur, and by no means anybody should assume that it was easy. I came to a country where I didn't know anybody. I started from ground zero with actually a mere £1,000 grant. So I want people to understand that it's very easy to say, we can't, we don't have the money, or we don't have the resources, we can't. But I'd like to say, if I can, then anybody can. While I was pursuing my dreams, I managed to have two beautiful girls who are now 15 and 17. And I also like to work hard because there is a part of me which wants to give them a better life. The reason I'm also a much stronger supporter of women and girls empowerment is because I have two girls and I want to see a fairer society for them going forward. I want them not to face as many challenges that I had to as a child, young woman, or even in my business journey. So there's a message for the wider society here is understand the women and girls in your family and support them in whatever dreams they want to pursue, and don't tell them they can't. Tell them that they can and that you're standing behind them while they are doing it. Thank you.
Great message, great conclusion, and thanks very much, Poonam, for all those messages you gave us. We were so absolutely, it's awesome having talked with you in the last half hour, and I want to thank you first, and thanks also to the listeners that are part of the TEDxPlattsburgh endeavor. Ayse, I don't want you, if you want to say something, to add something, that just before we're leaving, that's your chance to do it. I don't want to put you on a spot, but if you'd like, definitely before I'm closing, would be pleased to have your insights as usual.
Yeah, thank you, Stephane, and thank you, Poonam. Those were great insights, and I truly believe that yes, we have the power, so everything is possible if we believe in ourselves first. So thank you very much for your insights, lovely talk, and I'm sure that many women and girls will be inspired by.
Definitely. So inspired by your experience, by your messages, by your courage and your generosity as well. So many things to be inspired from what you're coming with. So inspiring youth, young girls, women, which are already in the field, but also inspiring old guys like me from all around the world to give the space women deserve, to be able to put their skills, their will at play in the field. It's so important, as I said earlier, for them. It's so important for the world, for a sustainable future, for us to have a better future, all of us. So thanks very much to all of you. Stay tuned. We'll have other podcasts, and another time, a big thank you to you, Poonam, for your generosity today in discussions with us.
Thank you.